Hi, everyone. Welcome to Everyday Real English from Real Life podcast.
Welcome to Real English Podcast. I'm Brendy.
And I'm Annie.
Have you ever been told by an American, we should get lunch sometime, and you waited for the text message with the time and place, and it never came?
I think we've all been there.
Right. Well, today, we are decoding why that isn't actually a lie, and why American friendliness can sometimes feel a little confusing.
It really can be.
But before we jump in, please take a quick moment to like, subscribe, and share the Real English Podcast with your friends.
Yeah, it honestly really helps us reach more language learners just like you.
Don't stress if this sounds fast. This is how Americans normally speak. You'll hear it again, slowly and clearly later.
Exactly. So today, our mission is to do a deep dive into American communication styles. We want to help you understand why Americans might sometimes sound, well, fake to people from other countries.
Yeah, that word comes up a lot.
It really does.
Yeah.
And the goal here is to help you master these everyday cultural rules so you can feel completely comfortable and confident when you speak English.
Because, learning a language isn't just about memorizing words from a textbook.
No, not at all. It's about understanding the culture and, the feelings behind those words.
Right, exactly. And we know that for a lot of you listening, stepping into an American social situation can feel like playing a really complex game where nobody handed you the rule book.
Oh, for sure.
You translate the vocabulary perfectly in your head, but the underlying meaning still feels entirely wrong.
It happens all the time. Let's start with probably the most common situation you're going to face. Everyday greetings and casual small talk.
Oh yeah, that is ground zero for cultural misunderstandings.
It really is. In American culture, communication often leads with a friendly, positive, emotional tone. The literal dictionary meaning of the words is actually less important than the warm feeling behind them.
Okay, let's unpack that because it's a huge shift for a lot of learners. Think about the most basic greeting out there, how are you? In many cultures across the world, if someone asks how you are, they're asking a serious, literal question about your health or your life.
Exactly. If you have a headache, you tell them about it.
But in the United States, how are you is just a polite greeting. It is not a medical question.
Right. When a cashier at the grocery store asks, how are you? They definitely don't want to hear that your back hurts or that you had a terrible day at work.
Or that your cat is sick.
Yeah, definitely not. They are simply acknowledging you and saying hello. A simple, cheerful, good thanks is the perfect response.
Keep it simple.
Exactly. You can also add, how about you? Just to bounce that polite energy back to them.
It's all about keeping the atmosphere light and positive. But here is where it gets really interesting, going back to our opening question.
Right, the lunch thing.
Yeah. What happens when an American says, we should hang out sometime? Or let's do lunch?
Oh, this is the classic trap for English learners. To someone new to the culture, let's do lunch sounds like a solid, concrete plan.
It sounds like a promise.
It does. You might go home, check your calendar, and wait for a text message with a specific restaurant. And then, while nothing happens, the text never comes.
Yeah, and you might sit there thinking, wow, that person was being totally fake. They just lied to me.
But they really are being fake.
No, they aren't.
Mm-hmm.
I always like to think of American small talk like a physical handshake.
Oh, I love that analogy.
Yeah, a handshake is just a polite social ritual to show that you mean no harm, right?
Yeah.
Shows you have a good relationship. It's not a binding legal contract of deep, lifelong friendship.
That is so true.
So saying we should hang out sometime is just the verbal version of that handshake. It's simply a warm, friendly way to end a conversation on a high note.
That handshake analogy is perfect. You really have to look for the details. If there is no specific time or date attached to the invitation, it's just friendliness.
Just a polite goodbye.
Right. Now, if they say, let's do lunch next Tuesday at noon at the cafe downtown, that is a real plan.
Yeah.
But without the details, it's just being polite. If you're listening right now, try saying this out loud with me so you can get comfortable with the rhythm. Repeat after me. We should hang out sometime.
Go ahead. Say it out loud wherever you are. Take your time.
Let's try it one more time. Nice and easy. We should hang out sometime.
Excellent job. So if Americans are so intensely focused on polite friendliness and, keeping positive energy in social situations, how do they communicate when things get serious?
That's a great question.
Like what happens when we move from the cafe into the workplace?
Well, the workplace is where the rules shift a bit. When it comes to everyday tasks and getting things done, Americans suddenly value clear, direct efficiency.
Right.
They are what we call a low-context culture when working. They want the work done quickly and correctly, so they will be very direct about what they need. A manager might just tell you, I need this report updated before the afternoon meeting.
But they still want to maintain that friendly office atmosphere, right?
Yeah.
You rarely hear a boss just, like, barking orders.
No, they usually soften those direct requests with polite framing.
Ah, polite framing.
Yeah. They wrap the direct task in a polite package. So instead of just saying, do this right now, they'll say, would you mind doing this? Or could you please update this?
Right. The request is direct, but the wrapper around it is polite. Let's actually practice one of those polite frames right now. If you can, say this out loud, repeat after me. Could you please help me with this?
Take a second to try it yourself.
Could you please help me with this?
Great job. Now, let's talk about the hardest part of work communication. Negative feedback.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. When a manager needs to tell you that your work isn't good, they use a very specific structure called the feedback sandwich.
The famous sandwich method.
Yes. This is a profoundly American way of handling criticism. First, you start with positive praise. That is your top slice of bread.
Okay, the top slice.
Then you deliver the negative critique. That's the actual problem you need to fix, which is the meat in the middle.
Got it.
And finally, you end the conversation with positive encouragement, the bottom slice of bread.
Wait, I have to push back here because this confuses so many people.
It really does.
If Americans value clarity and efficiency so much at work, why do they hide their negative feedback inside a sandwich? Doesn't that just cause a massive amount of confusion?
It seems like a huge contradiction, doesn't it? Even native speakers get confused by it sometimes. But it really comes back to the deep American psychological need to preserve optimism, practicality, and interpersonal harmony.
So they want to fix the problem without destroying the employee's confidence.
Exactly. They firmly believe that people work better and fix problems faster when they feel supported and valued rather than attacked. If you look at more direct European cultures, like in Germany or the Netherlands, a manager might just say, this section is wrong, rewrite it.
Wow, yeah.
But to an American, that sounds incredibly harsh and aggressive, almost like a personal attack.
And on the flip side, contrast the American sandwich with British communication. British culture relies much more on subtle subtext and understatement.
Oh, definitely.
If a British colleague says, I have a few amends to your document, they often mean the work is absolutely awful and needs a complete rewrite.
Right.
But if an American says, I have a few amends, they literally mean there are just a few small typos to fix.
Exactly. So in America, the criticism is direct enough to be understood, but cushioned enough to protect your feelings. Let's do a quick role play so our listeners can hear what the sandwich method sounds like in real life.
Sounds good.
Imagine we are in an office. I'm the manager, and I need to tell my employee that their presentation is way too long. Listen carefully to the structure of how I deliver this news.
Okay, I'm ready. I'll be the employee.
Hey, thanks for jumping in. Your presentation looks fantastic so far. I really love the graphics you chose. However, it is a bit too long for our scheduled meeting time, so we need to cut it down by about 10 minutes. But overall, you're doing a really great job on this project.
Thanks, I'll get those slides cut down right away.
Perfect. So if we break that down, did you hear the sandwich?
I definitely did. First, you gave the praise.
Yeah.
Your presentation looks fantastic.
Right.
Then came the meat, the real message you wanted to deliver. It's too long, cut it down by 10 minutes, and you finish with the final praise. You're doing a great job on this project.
Exactly. For our listeners, the key takeaway here is this. When you hear the structure at work, do not ignore the middle part.
Yes, do not ignore the meat.
Sometimes learners only hear the positive bread and they think everything is perfect. But the middle part, the meat, is the actual reason they are speaking to you. The positive bread is just there to make the meat easier to swallow.
So it's about listening to the structure of the conversation, not just the individual words.
Exactly.
But communication isn't just about the words we say. We've talked about verbal boundaries, the conversational bubble wrap. Well, this American desire to maintain comfortable, polite boundaries actually extends to how they manage their physical bodies and shared spaces too.
That's such a great point. Physical behavior is a huge, unspoken part of fluency. Let's start with personal space.
Okay.
Americans prefer a fairly wide bubble of personal space around them. During a conversation, a comfortable distance is about an arm's length apart.
Right, an arm's length.
If you step in closer than that, the other person might feel physically uncomfortable and slowly start stepping back to recreate that gap.
And when it comes to touching, the rule is to keep it minimal. Firm handshakes are the absolute standard for professional environments or when meeting someone new.
Yeah, hugs are usually reserved just for close friends and family members.
And kissing on the cheek is a greeting, which is so common in Europe and Latin America, is very rare in most parts of the United States.
It really is.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about something Americans take incredibly seriously. It's almost a sacred rule. Queuing or waiting in lines.
Oh, absolutely. Do not mess with the line.
It's so true. Whether you are at a coffee shop waiting for a bus or standing outside a restroom, waiting in line is strictly first come, first served.
Yeah.
But let's explain why it's so strict. It goes back to deep American values of equality and meritocracy. There's a famous saying in the U.S., time is money.
Time is money. You hear that everywhere.
You really do. And this means that no one's time is considered inherently more valuable than anyone else's, regardless of their age, wealth, or social status.
Right. So cutting in line, even by accident, implies that you think your time is more important than the people who waited. It is considered a major offense, and people will definitely speak up and correct you.
Oh, they will tell you.
Even if there is no physical line visible, people are mentally keeping track of who arrived first. If you walk up to a deli counter and you aren't sure who is next, just politely ask, "Are you in line?" or "Who's last?" It shows respect for that unspoken order.
It really does. Let's move on to another very noticeable physical and social behavior, customer service and tipping.
Oh, this is a big one.
When you walk into a store or a restaurant in America, you will almost always receive a very loud, enthusiastic greeting. A server might walk up to your table and say, "Hi, welcome in. My name is Sarah, and I'll be taking care of you today," with a huge, glowing smile.
I know for a fact this can be overwhelming for visitors. So I have a practical question for the listener. If a server at a restaurant comes up and is super enthusiastic and loud like that, do I have to match their energy?
That's a common word.
Do I need to be just as excited to see them?
Not at all. You don't have to put on a show or pretend to be overly excited. A simple, polite acknowledgement is perfectly fine.
That is a relief.
Yeah, a warm smile and a "hello, thank you" is all they expect from you. You might wonder why they're being so wildly enthusiastic, though.
Yeah.
It isn't just friendliness. It is directly tied to how they make their living.
Right. This brings us to tipping. Tipping in the United States isn't just a nice little bonus for excellent service like it is in some other countries.
No, it is an essential built-in part of a service worker's income. Yes. The laws in the U.S. actually allow employers to pay tipped workers a very low base wage, sometimes just a few dollars an hour.
Wow.
The legal and cultural expectation is that customer tips will make up the rest of their salary so they can actually earn a living wage.
So it's really not optional.
Think of it this way. Think of the price of the food on the menu, like buying the base model of a car. Paying the bill gets you the basic product.
Okay, I fold.
But the tip, that's the engine. The tip is the essential part that actually keeps the whole service industry running. Because of this system, tipping 15 to 20% of your total bill at a restaurant is expected. It is standard practice.
If you don't tip, or if you tip poorly, it is taken very personally. Because of that low base wage, it practically means the worker paid money out of their own pocket to serve you.
Exactly.
So that super enthusiastic greeting when you walk in, it's their way of providing excellent service in hopes of earning the tip they need to pay their rent and buy groceries.
You nailed it. Now, sometimes you might be in a retail store, not a restaurant, where an employee keeps asking if you need help finding anything, and you just want to look around quietly.
Yeah, that happens a lot in clothing stores.
It does. You can absolutely politely decline their extra service. Let's practice a phrase for that. If you're listening, repeat after me. "I'm good, thanks."
Go ahead and try saying it out loud.
Let's try it again, nice and relaxed. "I'm good, thanks."
That is a perfect, polite way to say, "Please leave me alone, I'm just browsing." They won't be offended at all. It's a completely normal interaction.
Well, we have covered so much ground today. We started with the friendly, positive nature of casual greetings and decoded why "let's hang out" isn't always a real plan.
Right, the verbal handshake.
We moved into the workplace, looking at how direct tasks are wrapped in polite frames and how to survive the feedback sandwich.
Don't forget the meat.
Exactly. And finally, we explored the physical rules of the American bubble, the strict equality of waiting in lines, and the vital economic reality of ticking culture.
It can definitely feel like a lot to remember. But if we connect this all to the bigger picture, all of these behaviors are driven by just a few core cultural values: maintaining positive harmony, respecting time and efficiency, and understanding how the service economy works.
The most important thing for you to remember is that you don't need to memorize a textbook to get this right.
Definitely not.
Understanding these rules just takes a little observation. When you're in a new situation, just take a moment to watch how the people around you are interacting. Notice their physical distance, listen to their tone of voice, and watch how they end their conversations.
Observation is key.
It really is. And I want to leave you with one final thought to mull over today. Cultural norms are just learned behaviors. They aren't universal, absolute truths.
Right.
You don't have to abandon your own beautiful culture or change your core personality to speak English well.
That is such a crucial point. So it's less about changing who I am deep down and more about just putting on a different cultural coat when I leave the house.
Exactly. Think of it like learning a new style of dancing. You're just learning the local dance steps so you don't accidentally step on anyone's toes. You are still you, just dancing to a slightly different rhythm when you speak American English.
I love that.
And most Americans are incredibly forgiving. If you stand a little too close or forget to say, "How are you?" back, they know you're learning and they appreciate the effort.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into American culture. We hope you feel a little more comfortable and a lot more confident about your next English conversation. Please remember to like, subscribe, and share the Real English podcast with anyone who might find this lesson helpful.
Yeah, we love reading your comments and hearing about your own cultural experiences and funny misunderstandings, so please share your stories with us below.
And if you want to review today's lesson, I uploaded a free PDF summary in the description and in the comments. Feel free to download it and study at your own pace.